Real Estate podcast on Facebook. Livecast, maybe.
Yeah.
I'm Ray, and this is Dan. Say hi, Dan.
Hi, Dan.
And this is the Bearded Men of Real Estate podcast. We just take news stories, things that are happening in the headlines, and share them with you. These are things that we're looking at every day. So we thought, well, why not just start a little beard-loving podcast talking about all of it. So, Dan, for those of you who are just joining us, Dan, tell us where you're from.
Well, originally I'm from just outside of Berlacia on oh, wait, sorry. It's a whole different thing we can get to. I'm from Southern California. Lived here my entire life. I visited all sorts of places, but I love Southern California. I work all of Southern California. You can maybe tell by the Angels hat and the Rams gear. I love Southern California.
I'm sorry. That's a rough life lately. Angels and Rams.
Yeah, Rams are actually okay. Angels,
it's true.
Man, it's been tough for a few years now. Dodgers doing well didn't help my depression at all.
And I'm Ray. I'm a real estate agent here in Arkansas, born and raised. So without further ado, let's get into the headlines. One day, I promise we will have transitions.
Maybe not. Who cares? We're good.
Okay, let's see. I'm up first. So for sale by owners hit a record low for the third straight year. A recent report from NAR, that's the National Association of Realtors, showed that the third year in a row, the for sale by owner transactions accounted for only 8% of recent home sales, the lowest share that the NAR has had since 1981, which is when they first started recording the report. So I guess this is the lowest ever, according to the report. To put this in report context, for sale by owner sales were between 12% and 14% from 2001 to 2008. So by default, the share of recent home sellers who sold with an agent remained at a record high of 89% last year. It's good news.
I think that's great news. You know, I mean, it's just got less and less people out there thinking that they can do what we do. Oh, it's just simple. We can do it ourselves, you know?
Yeah. Well, and I think a lot of the technologies that was supposed to be simple and making it easier is actually proven to be much more difficult than they thought.
Yeah. Well, and there's always that kind of bait and switch thing where, you know, oh, hey, we'll sell your house for this much. Oh, but if you want all the proper forms and all the guidance, no, that's the same thing that any broker would have charged you.
If you want real estate photos, oh, if you want marketing, yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's a whole different thing. You didn't ask about that, though. So I think it's interesting. I've probably mentioned it before. I've dealt with some FSBOs from the buy side. I'm solely a buyer's agent. I'm going to mention that 1,000 times every episode. I almost end up feeling bad for them. They don't always know what's going on. They're unprotected. You know, if anything should go sideways, there's absolutely no broker protection there. It's just not the way to go at all.
Yeah, and I forgot to mention, I know a lot of real estate agents kind of tune into this live and then later, but if you are watching this live, be sure to comment because we can actually display your comments and talk about those live too. So we can see your comments. We're not locked away or something like that.
And here's where we have to our plug. BMORE on Be Live.
That's right.
For now.
For now. This is the last day of the free trial. If this, we get 3. And so I'm like, well, if this thing continues to work, it's fine. There's another program called eCam. We can get into that another day. But
so it might be more on eCam. We don't know. But for now, we're good.
Whoever wants to sponsor us, then. All right. What's next?
New interactive Amazon Echo app shares listing information. That's already a cool headline. The new app allows listing agents to load home data on an Echo Show for buyer interactions during showings. Home IQ by ShowPal uses Amazon's Echo Show to tell and display information about a listing. It allows a listing agent to display additional information about the home to buyers and selling agents, also known as buyer's agents. Agents can use voice skills to access additional information about the home through the Echo Show. Home IQ is conceptually simple. A listing agent creates an account, sets up a property for $59.99 each, and places an Amazon Echo Show on the home's counter. Directions are then left next to the device to instruct agents and prospective buyers how to get started asking Alexa things. You can ask them things like, Alexa, ask ShowPal to tell me about this house, or Alexa, ask ShowPal to tell me about nearby schools. Anything like that, a listing agent can plug that in.
So this is interesting. So I know what they're trying to do. I know they're trying to replace like the home showing notebook and things like that.
Yeah.
I'm not sure this is the way to do it. But for me, this story gives me two clues of what's happening. They're trying to figure out a way to be more media interactive, I guess, for the buyer specialist. But when I'm showing houses as an agent, the last thing I look for is a little picture frame sized thing to tell me information about the house. And we have the multiple listing service. All the information about the house should be there. If the seller wants to provide additional information, I would anticipate that they would mail that or email that to us. Not mail, carrier pigeon. They would use a
little
raven.
scroll.
That's right. Send a raven with additional information about the house. But I just don't think that this is the way to do it. And the other thing it clues me in on is how voice, what are they called? Voice, they're not cues.
Voice skills.
Voice skills, yeah. How voice skills are going to be used in the future, because this says, Alexa, ask ShowPal. So there's two triggers there. It's not saying, Alexa, tell me more about this house, right? That would be the ultimate, and that's much easier. But instead, you have to say, Alexa, ask ShowPal to tell me about. Well, Zillow is going to come out with their own, I'm sure, that says, Alexa, ask Zillow, right? Right.
This is a new trend, right?
Why wouldn't? Like, and every agent's going to, Alexa, ask Ray to tell me. I mean, I think this is where we're headed, but this is it's interesting that the voice skill includes the company name to me, or the group name, because I think that's probably going to have to happen in the future. Yeah. And it's interesting that they think that this will work. I like the title. I like the headline. Like, it's fun. It's cool. All right. I can walk in and go, tell me about nearby schools. But then when you dive into it, you're not saying, tell me about nearby schools. You're saying, you're saying, hello app, open another app, and then hopefully tell me and hopefully understood me. If I have an accent at all, if I'm from England or if I'm Scottish, you can't, I can't tell you about this app. I don't know. I think there's going to be a lot of problems with it, or also listing agents could just be there. Right. That's happened.
Get in front of people. I don't know.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Moving on to another voice skill, Voister. Voister Pro debuts now a new Alexa home valuation skill. And this is another Inman report. Last one was also Inman. But this one highlights the new voice skill for the Echo that allows homeowners to ask, what's my home worth? And after a series of questions, get an answer. Even though the automated valuation is provided by a third-party organization, Alexa shares that it was the work of the agent who paid the Voister claim the leads. Naturally, the quality of the automated valuation comes into question. Should it be far or below? The partner agent would be held accountable for it, et cetera, et cetera. We get all the automated valuation questions apply here, right? So Voicer Pro has built a number of agent promotional abilities for Alexa, Katana, and Google Home. So this, again, is back on the voice skill thing. Yeah. It's interesting. Jane says it's a new shiny object.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly. The shiniest thing that you could show a seller that they'll hire you for, right? I don't know about this voice skill either. It's got different questions associated with it, though. The questions I would have here, one, about the quality of automated valuation, which we kind of heard in the report, but two, this company, Voiciter Pro. I've never heard of them. I guess now it's a new lead gen tool that they're using to sell these leads to agents. The automated valuation gets delivered to the people. I guess it's delivered through audio, or maybe it's sent to their email.
I guess, yeah.
And then the lead is then passed from the Echo to the agent. Dan, what do you think about this?
I mean, simply put, I think our entire goal is to get in front of people. So I guess if you have, someone ask for a home valuation and you're the agent in that area, then they get your info and you would have never known about them. I guess that's a positive, but there's so many variables that could go wrong here. Like with the Zillow thing, 5 to 10% off plus or minus, and then you're held accountable. So what if you get a valuation of 600 grand and you call and I'm like, hey, and then they're like, my house is worth 600 grand, let's sell it. And then you go, it's kind of worth like 545. So
yeah, or worse, right?
Yeah. What if it's way off, and how is it taking into account upgrades? How is it taking into account roof condition? Is the front door painted the right color for that market? Like, how is it taking into account any of that stuff? It's just so random. I guess, I don't know. It's just another thing that agents are paying to get leads when those are already your leads if you're out there looking for them. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and whenever these echoes came out, I thought about having a couple of voice skills, but I don't think it's to answer these kind of complicated questions. I think the place for the voice skill is to then turn around and add value to the person asking the question.
Yeah.
Alexa, what's the housing market like? And then suddenly they pull a couple of phrases from a data dumps that we do as the voice skill. And now they know, based on their location, the city that I've filed the information with, they have the most up-to-date housing data report, which would be really boring to hear Alexa read off. But, if that's what they want to do, that's fine.
Yeah.
But
and it's already approved by you. You approved it.
Yeah. It's content that I've created. And that may be the lazy bone that is going to get a lot of agents to use something like this, is that they could just pay for another lead source instead of providing the content.
Yeah. I don't know. I just think it's, if you're out there looking for leads and you're canvassing and marketing and doing your Facebook ads, I think you're already going to be getting to the sellers and you're going to be getting in front of them before anyone would ever ask, Alexa, give me a valuation, this is my thoughts on it.
True.
Next.
Yeah.
Okay. New research tool tracks mortgage delinquencies to monitor market health. Real Estate Daily reports the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau released its new tool. I keep reading that as new cool tool. New tool called Mortgage
Clues, Dan.
Yeah, I know. I keep rhyming things in there. It's how my brain works. I watched a lot of Blue's Clues when I was young. It's a new tool called Mortgage Performance Trends, which tracks 30 to 89-day delinquencies as well as 90-plus day delinquencies. Monitoring national delinquencies can be an early indicator of mortgage market health. The data can be broken down by state, metro, non-metro areas, and counties. What are your thoughts?
So this is a brand new tool. We've never had access to this kind of information. I think for the normal consumer, it's pretty useless. However, for investors, I could see a real play here, right? Because they're tracking 30 to 80, 90-day delinquencies and then 90-plus day delinquencies.
Yeah.
So if you're an investor and you want to know the health of a neighborhood you're looking at, maybe you could look up that data, compare it to the other data. I don't know. One of the questions is like, how anonymized is the data? Because all this information, a lot of the information is put into the county records anyway, when somebody gets a foreclosure notice and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But this may help a short sale investor, per se, find short sales before they are short sales. It could help investors figure out what neighborhoods are trending upward, in which they don't have a lot of delinquencies. So there's, people are paying their bills, which is important. So I don't know. It's an interesting new tool. I'm anxious to see how the market starts using it for investing around real estate, how builders start using it, how communities start using it. It's just the data. The data is now out there. What are we going to do with it? I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, if you're just curious about data and kind of, I don't know, market predicting is always so sketchy, but if you're out there just interested, you can kind of follow trends, right? So I think it's interesting for agents that look more into trends to kind of see where the health is, then maybe kind of cater their marketing towards that. We used to have, a short sale flyer that we just marketed to distressed homes, people that are underwater, when it was a lot more prevalent in 2011 and 12. But maybe that's how you cater things, just to see, what could bite or whatever. I don't know. I find it interesting.
It's interesting that the CFPB released it, and they protect consumers and they're all about consumers' financial privacy and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. So, and then they're releasing this data.
Yeah. And here's the data we have on everybody. That's cool.
Super private, but not all the time.
That's right. Most
you forgot to read the asterisk.
That's right. All right. Let's see. What's next? Weekly mortgage applications fall 2.6% as rates move even higher. Interest rates on home loans moved higher last week, causing both home owners and home buyers to back away from the mortgage market. The total mortgage application volume fell 2.6% for the week. The weekly seasonal adjusted application index from the Mortgage Bankers Association is now 20% lower than the same week a year ago. That's a lot lower.
That's a lot lower.
If you have noticed a slowdown in the market, you're probably not the only one.
Yeah. There's some data to support your claim.
Right. A 20% decrease is noticeable. I would say we've noticed a little bit of a slowdown. Number of showings on our listings and things like that are a little slower than they were a year ago, I would say.
Yeah.
I'm wondering if that's going to pick back up. We know that Yellen is probably going to raise rates again towards the end of the year. And it looks like the people that are going to replace her next year are kind of in the same profile, I guess you could say. They have the same mentality, same attitude towards reasonable rate increases. So
yeah,
I don't know that it'll be much different. I don't know why you would wait to buy if you were thinking about buying, because I think it's going to be lower now than it will be next year still based on this data.
That's kind of my thoughts on it. Is if you're anywhere near aware of what the market is doing, it's trending up as far as interest rates go. So you would be more pressed to get in now, if you're ready to go. So I'd be really curious to see what the other data would say on this. Is it something, we talked about student loans and all that stuff. They're at an all-time high, and just debt overall. So is there something else affecting this? I'd really like to see this, because I honestly don't believe it's just interest rates going up, because we've said it before. Historically, we're still at crazy all-time lows, so I'd still be curious to see, what other data would cause a 20% decrease from a year ago. That's kind of a lot.
Yeah. And, it could be, we know that the new construction market is 18% higher. We talked about that last week. We know that pending home sales is only a little bit higher. It's not much higher at all. So this is the weekly mortgage applications is a delayed, or is an early indicator, right? So we know that if weekly mortgage applications are down now, then in 30 to 45 days, the number of home sales are going to be also lower.
Yeah.
So it's just something to note. If you are a real estate agent, it's time to call everybody
right now.
Yeah, you don't want to.
Don't stop watching us, though. Keep watching.
Yeah, I'll call after the show. There's plenty
after the show. Then go ahead and do it, because that is a discrepancy, right? This is going down and this is going up. There's going to be a large discrepancy there.
There'll be there's money to be made in the gaps. So the other thing that this article said is that the refinance applications also fell, and those usually aren't tied to the interest rates so much.
Right.
So let's see. Billie Jean says pre-election panic. People I can't read that. It's too small. Hang on. Pre-election panic caused people to make moves last year, or would that have the opposite effect? So that's a good question about the election last year. We saw as soon as Trump was named as a nominee, a lot happened in the market. The stock market began to rise. Things began to change. Everyone started talking about rates increasing for sure, because the anticipation of the economy doing better. Sure enough, this year we've hit record highs in the stock market. It could be that, especially the new construction market being 18% higher than normal, the resales just being a little bit higher. It could be that whoever was buying has bought for some purpose, before November, December, or something like that.
Yeah.
I guess there is an election next year, right?
Yeah, 2018.
Yeah, the every 2-year thing.
Yeah.
So I'm curious to see. Usually those, when it's not the presidential election, which is when you see the most seats in the House and Senate trade, that's usually the big one. That's usually when the market takes a big, deep breath, right?
Yeah.
So I don't know. That's a good question, though. That's something to watch. Politics. I love politics.
Look at that. Same page. All right.
Speaking of politics.
We're going to go right back into politics. Breaking news, excuse me, on the tax reform bill. The mortgage interest deduction will be capped at $500,000. Previously, this cap was $1 million. It does, however, maintain the current deduction of up to $1 million in mortgage debt for current homeowners. So that stays. There are also changes in the standard deduction, which will reduce the number of people who claim the deduction from about 20% to 4%, according to recent estimates from the Tax Policy Center. The Republican plan also allows state and local property tax deductions of up to $10,000. So, yeah.
So this one's a biggie, and this just came out this morning. This, of course, is not passed yet. It'll be before all these committees and all that stuff. So they're thinking that it won't if the Senate were to pass it, they would have to pass it before Thanksgiving. So a lot of people think that this is probably going to be punted to 2018, and then a lot of debate, discussion, and probably some of these things will be changed. But this is what we know currently. Now, the market has started to adjust based on this news because they feel the stock market feels that this thing is going to pass in its current form, but we will see. So let's get right into the deep dive, because this is kind of our first talking point is this tax reform idea. What a lot of people have said, another transition. What a lot of people have said is that this is not that drastic. The biggest thing that this whole bill is doing is moving the corporate tax rate to 20%, which should move money from overseas, which has been stored overseas for years, back into the U.S. If that happens, then you should see more hiring, more innovation, more things happening here locally, maybe more manufacturing. And that's always good for GDP, which also will make more money in taxes.
Yeah, more consumer confidence, right?
Correct. So then that usually makes prices go up as people are making more money and there's more money in the economy. And so that's kind of how the whole inflation thing works, right?
Yeah.
So the mortgage interest deduction will be capped at $500,000. Currently, it's $1 million.
Mm-hmm.
So if you were thinking about buying a house from $500,000 to $1 million, now is definitely the time to buy if you're looking to do it for mortgage interest deduction. The way this works, let's say somebody owns a $2 million home. They have a mortgage on $1 million, like $1 million mortgage. Then previously or currently, they can deduct about $60,000, right? Depending on various factors, but it's about $60,000.
Mm-hmm.
Next year, they would be able to deduct $30,000. So it affects probably most of the wealthiest, the people in the expensive home housing markets, the New York, some of the luxury housing markets. Your average middle class person, this is probably not going to affect much.
Yeah, most of the loans that I work with are under, FHA out here where I live. The cap is at 379. That's for FHA, and then in Orange County and LA County, you get into the 626, 625 range. So if it goes down to the 500, you'd be affected a little bit, but not that drastic of a cut. Not 60 to 30 grand.
Right. And that's only if your mortgage is all the way up to 500.
Yes.
A lot of people that are buying a $700,000 house are putting down 3 or 2 or, so that's just barely in that bracket anyway.
Right.
There's a lot of complaints about this. They also changed the standard deduction, which makes a lot of the mortgage deduction kind of null and void anyway. It only affects about 4% of the people. I don't really see this as a giant deal. It's going to affect the luxury market. Maybe, I'm wondering if that would even lower prices on some of them, but I doubt it.
No,
luxury market is, there's a 14%. We talked about this last week, that there's 14% more people looking for, or there's 14% more inventory in the luxury than the people looking for it.
Right.
Based on the Trulia study we talked about last week. So it's an overblown market. It needs to drop price a lot. It's not. It's just kind of sitting there. So I think the effects of this is going to be relatively negligible.
Well, another question I would have.
Totally be wrong.
You can always be wrong. It's good to say that. You can say all of your opinions and go, I could totally be wrong.
But I might
by
be wrong.
the way.
Yeah.
Just end everything with that. No, my question would be, because I have a lot of clients that are over renting, because renting is so expensive here in California. It's less to actually buy a home, depending on the market, obviously. But how many people in those luxury markets, which here starts at like $700,000-800,000 grand and then goes up, how many people are looking for a tax break? You know what I mean? Because they have mortgage insurance. They most likely already have their mortgage insurance. They're not looking to increase it. So if you're renting, you obviously don't have that. You don't have that write-off. But when you buy a home, now you have that write-off. So you're going from renting to owning, and now you have this thing you can write off, that helps you on your taxes. I don't know how many people are going from renting a $2,500 apartment and then buying a $2 million home, unless obviously I could be wrong.
Well, right.
I just, I don't know. It's usually, if you're in that kind of range, you're already in that range and you're just buying another one, or you've gone bigger, or you're already close to luxury and you already had a home and now you're leveraging yourself up.
And that $60,000, the $30,000 deficit per year is probably negligible to that person. I know it's money, but still, it's not going to be huge to that person.
Yeah,
I don't know. It's just,
and also, I mean, this is just the initial. Hey, here's what's happening. We got to wait till the dust settles a little bit,
Yeah, and it could all get changed around. Supposedly, these were the things in it that had the largest impact on real estate, but I obviously have not had time to read the whole thing. This was just glancing at some of the breaking news about it today.
Yeah.
So we'll continue to watch this. Like I said, it's not in effect now. Some say probably late 2018. It might go into effect.
Yeah. If you kind of said if they have to get it done before Thanksgiving, that's a lot of work with everything else going on.
Yep, exactly. So we'll see what happens. It's interesting. Maybe it would force some people to pay off loans.
Yeah.
I just want to acknowledge all the beard shout outs. So thank you, Paul.
What?
Happy Movember. That's a mustache shout out. Are you growing a mustache, Paul? I hope you are. If you're growing a mustache, I want to see it, Paul. And then nice. Kathy says happy November beard. I love
that. See, I've always call it, there's Rocktober. I've always call it Octobeard.
Octobeard. I like that. I don't think bearding is seasonal. I mean, this is not I didn't start this yesterday.
No, I started mine last week.
I'd have to agree with Melissa's assessment. She says beard men are sexy and smart. That's totally true.
Yeah.
And then lastly, Colin, thank you, Beard Strong. All right, so let's get on to the next topic of our deep dive. Stop Zillow or not?
Right.
So there is Paul says, Paul says, mine takes more than a month to grow. That's okay, man. It is not seasonal. And even if it did, be in a nice winter beard, that'd be a good look.
He has to start Movember in like July.
That's right. Pre-plan.
Yeah.
Just what you do is you start in July and then you end in July and then you start in July.
That's what I do.
Okay. All right. So that's exactly how I got mine.
Mm-hmm.
Let's start with the Stop Zillow or not. So Stop Zillow is a movement. I think his name's Paul or Greg Haig. I can't remember now.
I have it up, actually. I don't have it up. Wait, there it is. The actual
real
dude.
Estate. Yeah. What's his name?
Plan to Save Real Estate. His name is The Purpose. Wow, it doesn't get to his name quickly. National Advertising. I have all the stats and everything up, but not the dude's name.
Except for the guy's name.
Not anyway, the dude's name. He's a nice guy. He's a really nice guy.
He's a nice guy. He seems like a nice guy. He is all about Greg Haig. That was it. He's all about taking down Zillow. He's saying that Zillow is taking our listings, or we gave Zillow our listings. Zillow is taking those listings, generating buyer leads off of those listings, and then selling those leads back to agents. Which that is essentially the model.
Yep.
But that's what has happened. That's kind of the way real estate has happened. Just to take those of you back who aren't real estate agents that are watching this, in my opinion, the National Association of Realtors made one of the hugest mistakes in the entire world when they sold Realtor.com to Move Inc., which wasn't Move Inc. at the time, but I don't think it was Move Inc., was it? It may have been. But anyway, it became Realtor.com that's now owned by Move Inc., which also owns a lot of real estate tools. That was the one opportunity I think that they had to create a international and national website full of every lead in every brokerage everywhere who's a member of the National Association of Realtors.
Yep.
Instead of doing that, they sold it. Then Move Inc. built it. Zillow, Trulia. Now Zillow and Trulia are one. Realestate.com is the other Zillow. It is the Zillow for millennials, which that doesn't seem like it's gotten a lot of traction lately. Maybe they're just working on it a lot behind the scenes, but it
doesn't have a very good name. It should be something.
Realestate.com is pretty average. And also probably one of the most expensive website domain addresses you could buy. Realestate.com is huge.
Yeah.
But so anyway, Zillow's been doing this for years. The way it works is I will list a property. We have 79 different syndicates, so they'll pick up our MLS listing and then they'll shoot it to Zillow, Trulia, all these other websites.
Right.
Somebody goes to that listing, they see my name at the top, they see these other agents listed, they'll click contact agent, which most of the time they think that they're getting the listing agent, when in reality it goes to one of the 3 who are paying for that spot. Real estate agents pay Zillow monthly. Well, now you can actually pay daily. They've changed that. So real estate agents pay Zillow for those leads. That was a funny comment, Colin. This the beard thing. I guess it is November. It's kind of be a 5 o'clock shadow of real estate. Yeah. Goatee, real estate goatee. Do that. Anyway,
the goatee of real estate.
Greg wants to create a website, and I think he's trying to, $1.1 million.
Uh-huh.
And this was brought to my attention on Tim Macy's show, actually. Tim had Byron Lazine as one of his guests. Byron had mentioned something about Stop Zillow and not liking the campaign. Tim Macy had him on a show. They talked at length about it. So Greg is going to reveal this brand new website in February. I think February 18th or something like that is the reveal.
Yeah.
Supposedly, this website they're building and constructing is amazing and incredible and can take the buyers off of Zillow. I think they're just trying to attract them to it. I don't.
Yeah.
So this is the Stop Zillow campaign. That's the introduction to what we're going to talk about. So in short, Dan, how do you feel about the Stop Zillow thing?
I mean, to me, yes, I love your point about, making the huge mistake, ball dropped, right? They could have cornered the market essentially and kept all of our listings ours. So I don't really feel like I'm against Zillow. So I'm a Libra, so I have 2 minds of everything. What I do, and I say this in my buyer's consult, I'm a buyer's agent, if I haven't mentioned that. I say, that I like that all those websites are out there because it gives our clients, our potential clients, so much more info, right? They kind of get an idea of where they want to be, what the market looks like. And then it's my job to get them into me and then harness all that energy and focus it towards the home purchase and get them doing it the right way. That's where I waver on it is, I don't think buying a home through Zillow or going directly to the listing agent is the right way to buy a home. Yeah, it's just not in our markets anyway. So that's why I dig that it's there. I like that it's easily accessible. I like that it's in a nice little app and people can look through it and get some info about it. And then they need to find an agent, and then they need to have someone that is going to have their back, But I mean, to me, the bottom line is if we all stopped paying Zillow for leads, they wouldn't. If you just go get your own leads, like when we have a listing, we do all our own marketing. I go door to door. We do Facebook target ads, and we're pulling those leads to us. So that those leads come to our direct message on our Facebook page. So obviously we're not getting all of them. There's still going to be more out there, but we're pulling all the leads that we want to get, and we're controlling it. So I don't know. I know there's a lot of agents that spend a lot of money on Zillow, and I think they make a lot of money. If they spend $1,000 a month and then make 20 grand a month, that's okay. Or that's something that they can do. But I don't know. I'd have questions about the Stop Zillow guy. Then he's going to be Zillow. Is that what he wants to be? He wants to have all the leads.
That's a good question.
Like that's like, you can see my mind kind of going through all of it, but now I'm like, well, who's this guy? You're still taking our leads. How are you giving them back to us for free? Are you going to make them pay for us? Because if it's my listing, it should be my lead. That's just how it should work. But if there's so many other sources out there, meaning Zillow, Trulia, and Redfin and all that stuff, and Redfin, Zillow having the new instant offer thing, and then Redfin having their own agents. There's just so many ways to get these listings. It's going to be very difficult. It's kind of like music copyright protection. It's really hard to keep someone from burning a disc. That's not a thing anymore, but or sharing music. It's really difficult to keep someone from sharing music. It's really difficult, unless NAR would have not dropped the ball, but that's happened.
Right.
So I just think we need to be creative and not have to do that. I think you just need to be creative in how we pull our own buyers and our own leads and really control it as much as you can. And then I don't know, because I don't do the Zillow thing. So if they click on I want to see this listing, it goes to it doesn't go to you, right, Ray? It goes to whoever's paying for that zip code.
It just says contact agent, and it goes to one of the three. And there's a little checkbox out beside them, but nobody ever sees that little checkbox. And you could select your agent, but it's very rare that somebody selects their agent from that.
Yeah,
I think it's only happened to me like once or twice out of all the Zillow leads I've ever gotten.
Yeah. Do you pay for them, or you're just on there because it's your listing?
So yeah, if everybody stopped buying Zillow leads, I would buy them all.
Yeah.
Because so I could care less. Like, they made a website that uses our MLS to promote the sellers for me. Why is this a bad thing?
Yeah, to help you make that listing famous. Right.
74% of people, well, it's probably higher now, but 74% of people go to Zillow first. Of those 74 that go to Zillow, still 80 something, I think it's 84, 86% will buy through an agent.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm an agent. It's an avenue for people to get more exposure. We beat them on the exposure numbers through Facebook.
Right.
So it's not like they've cornered the market. I can get my sellers more exposure elsewhere.
Yeah.
So, and I don't mind if other agents pay to be listed alongside my listings. Okay. Now, would I like a little bit of that money? Yeah. Now that could change. That could change my mind, right? Like, maybe give a little bonus to actual agents that list property or a lot of property. But
so we need to chat with Greg. So there's your thing. So that you get a little kickback if it's actually your listing. So you're getting, depending on the publicity, because it does. It publishes to all these different websites when you put it through the MLS, and that's all free publicity essentially, right? So, and
that's the whole thing, is that they're not paying for the data. Well, and they haven't been paying for the data because we as agents are giving them that data because it's valuable to get the exposure. Yeah.
Yeah. They don't, you always hear the older agents that have been doing it for 30, 35 years. They're like, we used to have a book that we used to take around and that was our listings. Now the book is countrywide, it's easily accessible.
Public. I hate the idea that an agent can hide inventory. It's terrible.
Yeah. And like I said, I dig it that it's out there. I like that people have, they already kind of have honed in, like, well, I kind of looked through this area, but it seems a little too expensive, or I drove some areas and it's not my thing. They've already kind of done a little work up front. I still don't mind doing the work, but I like that they have all this knowledge. And then when they finally sit down with me, I get to focus all that knowledge. And my experience is they're much more appreciative. They're like, okay, all right, cool. I've chosen the right agent, So to me, it helps. I just, I got to agree with you. I like that the kind of free promotion, of your listing,
Yeah.
Especially if you're controlling how you're getting buyers anyway, and you're beating them out in the market anyway.
Yeah. And I think a lot of buyers agents don't mind it. Like I run a team, so I have a couple of buyers agents on my team, and they get the Zillow leads and have to call and follow up with the Zillow leads. I know the other change that Zillow is making lately, there's two things. One of them is that they're making people go back to their app more, and their Premier Agent app, and they're wanting the agents to use that app to follow and track and initialize those conversations and put those in there so that Zillow can then see, hey, is this an agent that's following up or not? Because they want to send agents that do follow up more leads.
Right.
That's interesting. The other thing they're doing is that they're changing it so a person inquires about a property. I start to work with them. I could send them a message through Zillow saying, hey, do you want me to be listed on all the properties you see so I can know what homes you're looking at, know what information you have access to? When they click yes, they don't see any other agents.
Right.
Makes all the other agents disappear.
Right.
So as an agent, that increases cost per lead, because some people are going to still get stuck with an agent that they're like, oh man, I shouldn't have accepted that. But,
I didn't want that.
I didn't. Now I'm seeing this guy everywhere. So that's still going to happen because, you get those clients that are like, well, we talked with this agent, but it's not working out. So I think in the future, there's going to be more of a buy-in to the Zillow CRM. I think that's the direction they're headed. Everybody thinks that they're going to replace agents. They're not. I just think it's going to be different. Let's see. Jacob said, what if they start a Redfin-like option for sellers to list their home with flat fee? Then do we love Zillow? So that's not profitable for Zillow. If every single property on Zillow started listing for a flat fee, they would still make less than they make off of an agent, I think.
And by the way, that's my partner, Jacob Switek. Say hi, Jacob.
Hey, Jacob. I just think targeting, so it's really difficult to have a business model that targets somebody making a purchase or buy decision within 3 to 5 years. And that's your sole target. I know because that's my target, right? So for a website to come out and do a flat fee that's far less than where we are, maybe like the Purple Bricks model or the Redfin model, to where they pay a flat fee and they get listed on a website, I don't think that's going to do it. I don't think they're going to sell that way. And I don't think that's going to drive all that much traffic. You know, you have forsalebyowner.com, right? And they're not, people list their house there, but still, we just read an article earlier. There are fewer for sale by owners sold in this last year than since they first started recording the sale of for sale by owners.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I don't think it's going to be huge.
Yeah. And I mean, I don't know. I keep going back to the, because you, Ray, you hold a lot, a bunch of listings at a time. So how would you feel if other potential leads are going to other agents that you should be pulling? You know what I'm saying there?
So why should I be pulling those? Just because I have the house listed?
Yeah, I mean, if they're unencumbered, it would be essentially like they're raising their hand. And this is just an honest question. They're raising their hand saying, I like your house. I don't have an agent. It should be you or go to your team.
So what did we do before Zillow?
I don't know. I've only been in the real estate industry since Zillow. I actually started with Zillow. I haven't told you guys that yet.
Oh, really?
No. Hate mail. Here comes all the hate ravens.
The hate pigeons.
Please don't send me hate ravens.
So, I think this is, I guess you could say, an imaginary thing that when we think of, well, I have this listing, so all these buyers that are inquiring that are going to other people, I should get, when I didn't have those people anyway. Aaron says, here he goes. Aaron says, people used to call the number on the side and use the agent. There were a whole lot of people that would never call that agent, or there were a whole lot of calls that got missed. People had to call back.
Yeah.
I don't think there's that drastic of a difference. We still get tons of leads all the time. We don't have a lead gen problem. We have a lead management problem, right?
Right.
And with all the new technologies and everything that's out there, I don't know. I don't think I'm, and maybe I'm too optimistic, but I just don't think I'm being injured by the additional exposure.
Well, I think like a trend we've seen with Ray is, you're not afraid of the purple bricks, and and honestly, we aren't either.
Right.
The purple bricks and all the lead gen stuff. They keep saying now Zillow's got, like I said, the instant offers thing, but when you really look at it, it's a full 9%. It's usually a lot when you really look into something. That you're going to find that it's not going to be any better, and I just think it's that same thing as when you go with I just hear so many times where someone calls me, I'm their second agent. They had another agent. There was no buyer's consult. There was no conversation. There was no knowledge. And they were like, they set up properties that the buyer didn't really want to see in a price range that they couldn't really afford. I just think there's so much disconnect to all this stuff. I think it'll kind of sort itself out. And you said it with the numbers there, the 79% and then the 84%. I still think the dust will settle on it. And if we're doing our job properly, I don't think we have anything to be afraid of. Now, 400,000 agents in California, I think some might have to be a little afraid, but if you're legit and you're really looking for those leads and you're really pulling those leads in and giving them full service, you got to be a full service agent. And you're not trying to half-ass anything, I think you'll be all right,
That's the difference. I think it's a good transition into the second comment by Jacob, which covers up Dan's entire face. I love it. He said they do it under another name, so agents still pay for the advertising, have the data, etc. Leads to it. I'm not saying that they will, but they could. They could do it stealthily, but I think that might be illegal. Using money from one to, isn't that like a shell corporation? Isn't that illegal? Can you do that? Maybe you can. Let's pretend you can. So if they had this shell corporation and stealthhomes.com, right, and everyone was selling their homes there, I actually think it might be good for the market, because there are a lot of agents that probably shouldn't be. And there are, I think even the individual agents are probably going away. I think, the team and the specialization in, like you're a buyer specialist, I'm more of the listing side, and the specialization of those skill sets is going to be more and more important. And the technology is allowing us those freedoms. And, Aaron brought up a good question. Do you feel like you get less leads from your listings at all? Yes, I get less listings from sign calls for sure, or less leads from sign calls. I don't think, I think it was in 2007 or 6 when the number came out that sign calls were only 10% of the leads. It's not a huge number of leads that are coming in on sign calls anyway. And, honestly, I'd have to pay somebody to answer the phone. And so there's an expense associated with filtering those leads. And so I think, I think it's fine. If there's another website that came up, like, Purple Bricks, Redfin, those kind of companies, I welcome them, because it's going to thin the herd quite a bit. And those agents that are providing full service to their clients, that are doing multimedia, that are beating the market, though I will always be able to beat Zillow's exposure. I'll always be able to beat whatever website's out there, because they're a Titanic and I'm like a little speedboat, right? So I can make the changes today that's going to take them a year or 2 to put into place.
That's a good point.
And I think that competition is fun. And for me, it makes me better.
Yeah,
a good comment by Colin. Let me throw that up there too. You don't have a branding problem, or he said you have an agent branding problem, not a lost lead problem. It's good. Yeah,
and I like that. If you've listened to me at all, you've heard me say I'm a big fan of thinning the herd. The top tier agents will stay. So I think we need to steer back to this Greg Hague guy. What's his actual goal here? What does he want?
Yeah, who is this guy? Really? So if you want to see this whole thing, go to plantosaverealestate.com. I think what he's trying to do, I think his heart's in the right place, right?
Yeah.
He's wanting to rescue the agent. We have this data. We go through the hard work of getting the listing, and this data goes out of our hands and into someone else's.
That's where it irks me. You do all this work to get that lead. What if you only get 5 listings a year and you work so hard for them, and then and then someone else that pays for leads on, like you can't afford it. You're maybe you're part-time or whatever. You're trying to get back to full-time agent, and you can't pay you can pay $20 a day. You can't pay $1,000 a month.
Right.
You can pay a smaller budget, but you can't pull the big leads that a bigger agent would. And I think that's at the core of what Greg is kind of trying to say, is like,
True.
I don't know if it's a keep your leads thing or get back to more sign calls thing. I just think it's more of a, because there is a lot of anger out there for Zillow, which I totally understand. And it's that I worked so hard for this. Thank you for the exposure. That part's cool. But now someone else, the exposure should come back to me and not someone else that just happens to be able to afford more. That, I think that's kind of where Greg is saying.
I mean, maybe let's see, there's like 4 or 5 agents listed on there. Probably average spend is around $2,000. So maybe if they were to charge listing agents $10,000 a listing, that's what they're making off of it, right?
Yeah.
So that's not practical. But if you had a listing, right, and I came to you and said, "Hey Dan, I'm an agent in your marketplace. You guys have a really cool listing. Do you mind if I put this on my Facebook page and try to help you guys find a buyer?" You'd probably say, "No, go ahead," because it's good for your seller to get the additional exposure. Right.
Yeah, and we do that too. We had early in the year, we didn't have a listing coming up, and we just wanted to do an open house, and we had a friend that had a really killer listing. It was awesome. We did a big video for it, and it was all it was shared. She was still getting the pub off of it. We just got to do the open house and a video, which helped us, and then it also helped her. But again, it's still her listing. Zillow gives the option that it's one of these 3 premier agents, because the average layperson, non-real estate related, just like, I want that agent. That just
it says listing agent under one of them, and the others say premier,
right.
premier, right?
Right. Who's paying for them, right?
Right. But in that example, you got the leads, right? And you didn't pay her for the listing. You didn't pay her a referral.
Our payment was all being able to do the open house, and then she eventually got a buyer.
Exposure.
Yeah, and then but we also helped with the exposure. We were helping her create exposure.
So you helped another agent create exposure, and you got the leads off of that.
Hypothetically, if there were any, I think we had a couple.
So essentially, you're Zillow.
That's what we're saying. That's my whole point of this entire thing.
Dan is Zillow, everybody.
I'm Zillow.
But no, we do that. We do that here too.
I've been hiding behind the curtain the entire time. You guys just realized it now.
So if we had if there was an agent in our marketplace that came to me and said, "Hey, I noticed you got this killer listing. You mind if I put it on Facebook, generate some leads off of it, maybe bring you a buyer?" I'd say, "Sure."
Yeah.
Zillow's doing the exact same thing. So I'm really not that concerned about it. I don't know.
Yeah. And I honestly think it goes back to if you're a full service agent and you provide your clients with that service and with the goal of, you want those referrals, you want them to fall in love with you, I think you're going to be fine.
All right. So let's move on. I think we spent a good 20 minutes on that one.
Yeah. That was awesome.
Oh, Aaron said, that's a cool way of looking at it, I guess. I put the pause in there. There's no comma there, but
yeah, I guess.
Let's see. Jacob said there's 60 million. That's a lot of money in our industry. That's true. And he said purple brick should wake up the weak. Very true.
I like that. That's a great one.
Yeah. Quote of the day.
Yeah. Let's give him the QOTD.
All right.
You're saying it.
The QOTD. I like that.
Nice. The QOTD.
All right. The picks of the week. Another,
yeah.
In one day.
So the BMORE QOTD. All right.
Like
you guys are seeing us come up with new ideas on the fly. All right. So my pick of the week is this kind of, I've seen a couple posts actually this week. I don't know why it's happening. I file my taxes in April, but I know a lot of agents that wait until October. So maybe that's why it was coming up. But I've seen a lot of posts about how do you track your mileage and how much can you write off? And I used to just honestly, every time I went and I would save my receipt and I'd write down the mileage on it. And then I would just go back through the year and average, from the beginning of the year all the way to the last receipt of the year. And that's what my average mileage was. Not the best way, especially when you're throwing your receipts into your center console and they're just all jumbled in with every other receipt,
I've got a set that's like this big around on the side of my Jeep where it's mesh and it's just full of receipts. It's terrible.
There's no order to it at all. So there's an app out there called Mile IQ and it'll track. Now, I want to throw that. If you're a conspiracy person and you don't like your phone to know your location, this won't work for you. Keep printing the receipts and write it on there. But it's a really cool tracking app. It essentially just tracks, and you can designate between, like if you drive somewhere, if you drive to the school to pick up your kids and then go to the showing, you can start it then. So you can designate when you're actually using mileage, and then there's no I used 12,000 miles this year. I'm going to write off 2/3. Exactly every single mile. As long as you're using it properly, you got to go into the app and you got to use it right. And every single mile that is tracked for actual real estate purposes, driving to this showing or that listing appointment or this inspection, whatever. And it really puts it all and lays it out there. It's a pretty cool little app.
I like it. Mile IQ.
Mm-hmm.
I'll have to check it out.
Yeah.
Okay. So for mine, I've brought a prop. I got a new toy.
I know what this is.
It's called the DJI Osmo Mobile.
Yeah.
So here it is. Let's see if
we just got one.
You did? I love this thing. Okay, so here's the big screen version. What it does is it holds my iPhone right here. And it is basically a gimbal for your iPhone. Now, previously, in previous versions of the iPhone, I'm going to get my phone here so I can show you how it works. In previous versions, I didn't get this because the iPhone could only shoot in 720, and then the iPhone could shoot in 1080. And I thought, maybe I'll get this. Now this will shoot in 4K with the recent iPhones. So this is super easy. Just stick I said it's easy.
I was really hoping for it to not be easy.
I know. Okay, so you just it adjusts. So you could use an iPhone. I think you can use other things too. But check this out. It's turned off now. I can turn it on.
And it doesn't do anything.
And it doesn't do anything because it's dead. Oh, whoa. Did y'all see that?
Wow.
That's trippy. Okay, so The weird thing is that it will actually track me. So they have settings on here through, they have a special DJI Osmo app. And as you're using it, if you use their app, you can put your finger on there and it will track my face. And so if I turn, it turns. And I don't even have to turn my hand. It's crazy. And also
and
it's
it'll
like
keep it smooth.
steady.
Yeah.
It keeps everything smooth. Let me connect here. And
I know there's a bunch of different versions of this. Is this the higher end one? Is this the...
no, this is so Best Buy had it on sale for $250.
Nice.
So that's what, so if you hold your hand, wait, you got to be, this is really hard to use backwards and turn around. Okay. So I think I got it selected. Let me see here. You got to change the setting. So I just put the setting on tracker.
Yeah.
I'm going to click my face. If I can find my face.
Oh, too small. Get closer.
Too small.
This is what people tuned in for.
This is really, oh, there it goes. All right. So it's tracking my forehead. So look, I could squat and the thing like goes down. It just tracks me anywhere I go. And it's kind of creepy. Isn't that weird?
Yeah, there's another, I think it's not GoPro. I forget who does it, but they have one. You just set up the camera and then you tell it to track you. I think you might wear a device on you. So if you're on a motorcycle or a jet ski or something, it'll track you and it'll watch wherever you go. But this is just your phone tracking you.
Yeah, and this is all you have to do is carry this little thing. This weekend, I'll be testing it. We have something called Chili Fights in the Heights, and my videographer couldn't make it, so I'll be using this thing. Let's see, Chris said, what is the name of this device? This is the DJI Osmo Mobile. So it has all kinds of different settings and effects and all that stuff. So as you see, the little red dotted button is a record button, and then it's really hard to do backwards. This button takes pictures. This button moves, so you can move it independently. You don't have to move your hand.
Yeah. So,
but there's all kinds of settings you can set up to shoot in 4K. This little trigger button, if you get unoriented, is it disorient?
Disoriented.
Okay. So right now, this is kind of disoriented.
Ray is too focused on the thing.
It's really hard. I can double tap the trigger, and then this will reorient. Okay, so I'll double tap. Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah.
The other thing is that you can hold this trigger, and it will keep it steady. Like it won't move it, because if you don't hit this button, then it'll move it. It just moves it much smoother than you could. But if you hold the button, it won't move it. It's so weird.
And this is one of those things kind of jumping off when, we were talking about the iPhone 10, which Ray has on order.
Yeah.
This is another one of those things where you can, the iPhone's crazy expensive, but $250, is that what you said it was?
This is $250. It's on sale right now at Best Buy. It's normally the regular price is $300.
Yeah. This is something where you can, because like I think I've said it before, our photographer, he uses, an S8 so he has a gimbal just like that, and then he uses an S8 for all this. So you can control your own destiny, so to speak. You can control your own listing photos, and you could do your own little videos. If you just want to do a simple property walkthrough, that's pretty simple. Then splice it together. Does it come with like photo or video editing software at all?
I don't think so. I haven't gotten that deep into it. I just got it last week. I'm just covering my face with it. I'm talking to this now.
So, okay, Ray's pick of the week next week is going to be video editing software.
Yeah, video editing software. But no, so whenever I was at a house a long time ago and I started shooting my first listing video, I would hold my hand like really awkward, kind of like this.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
I would hold it like this so that no one could know that I was using my own arm.
Yeah.
And then I went from that to a professional. But had I known about something like this shooting in 4K, I probably would have delayed that move a little bit because economically it was just tough to do.
Yeah.
Now we're there, and so we have high expectations for all of our videos. However, this is going to be really beneficial if I'm out at a property, I see something cool, I want to get a really cool shot of it, maybe like a an armed gimbal or something like that, because you can hold this straight with your arm and go up and down. And it just shoots perfectly straight, so you can get some really cool shots. So I'm super excited about it. Next week, I'll show you the footage, if we can edit it by then. I'll show you the footage of the chili fights in the Heights that I get from this thing.
Yeah.
So I think it's going to be a lot of fun.
I like it, man. Yeah, we have those. One of our team, we have a team member that just picked one up, and we've been playing with it. He shot a couple of videos with it. It's pretty rad. Really, really cool. And
Go ahead. What?
It's even cool just for just to do a quick little video, edit it together, just to say, reminder, we're in real estate, when we're at the office all hanging out, and then do a slow-mo shot, even anything like that. And it didn't take him too long to do that. And it's a cool way to remind people, other than, hey, who wants a valuation on your property? I'm doing it for free right now, which those posts totally work, but it's another cool way to remind people that you're in real estate.
I forgot to mention, you can also go live on this thing. Let's see. I think you can also do slow motion, time lapse. I got it for the time lapse because you can point to certain points and say, I want you to cover those points in 4 hours. And if your battery will last, it'll go 4 hours to cover those points and to make a 12-minute clip.
Is that your phone doing that, or the Osmo?
The settings are on the phone, and you adjust the settings on the phone, and it Bluetooths to the Osmo.
Okay. Nice.
My face again. This is great, guys. The other thing, let me look on here on the live options. So it's got several live options: YouTube Live, Facebook Live, and so you could go to live directly from this device.
I
which
see.
Is really
That's
cool
the
as
app.
well.
Okay, I get it.
Yeah. Okay. So the app is also the viewfinder.
Right.
So they have their own video app software, and it also, you can use it to take a picture. I guess you need Steadicam for photos. I don't know.
I guess. I just like it for the, sometimes it's awkward to hold it. And then my phone, I could just say the word shoot, or, it just took a picture. Or
that's awesome.
Or just the underside of my computer. Shoot or smile or anything. You can just say a word and then it'll take the picture. But, I dig it for that. I don't want to be done with this, but Colin did ask for a beard tip of the week.
Oh, a beard tip of the week. Okay, so I'd be happy. Do you have a beard tip? I have a beard tip.
One of mine is yours, so I think I know what you're going to say. If not, I will say it. Go ahead.
Okay. All right. Well, I just want to show you one more thing about this. It's so violent when you turn it off. Watch what happens. You ready? It's just done. It's
just death.
It's the classic robot stops.
Yeah.
It's
when you're fighting, you're battling the robot.
Hot. Oh, that's hot to the touch. Yeah. Ooh. It's super hot. The more you use it, the hotter it gets.
It's like when you're battling the robot and you finally figure out where the off switch is.
That's exactly what happens. Okay, so the beard tip of the week. And I'm probably not going to have too many beard tips. I don't know that I'll have enough to go 52 weeks because there's just that much to it. Yep. But here's my tip. A lot of people think beard oil is for the beard. It is not. It's for your skin under the beard. So if you are a dry person, and I think like Paul said earlier, he said, you're going to have to give me some tips because he gets itchy. It will help relieve some of the itch, some of the dryness. There is, beard dandruff and that kind of thing that happens. I think the reason is because I went really high there. I think the reason is because we use such harsh chemicals in our soap that we are washing off the oils and natural oils for our skin that we actually need. Mm-hmm. And so beard oil is actually for the skin under your beard. So you massage it there. If you're an oily person, you don't really need a lot of beard oil. So if you go outside and your beard is shiny, I hope you're going on a date or something, because it's a little much. If you can wring out your beard, it's a little much.
You have too much beard oil.
You have too much beard oil. So I only use it occasionally, very rarely. If I'm going somewhere nice and I want it to look a little extra styled and maybe together, sometimes the beard oil helps that. But really, there's a beard wax that maybe would do a little bit better.
That's what I use.
Together.
Yeah.
The oils don't really do that. The oil is for your skin.
Yeah, and that's the tip that I was going to give, because Ray gave me that 3 months ago, and I've always put it, on the skin, but it wasn't the focus. It just went on the thing, and then for the sheen and kind of the, this is nothing in it. So when I want something in it and want it to kind of hold, then I have a beard wax that holds it together. that keeps it from going out here. But I was just going to say, like,
I was just picturing you with like your beard, like,
yeah,
awesome.
I actually do that, from time to time. I would say, and this is for people that can grow a beard. Like, you got to be able to grow a beard. If you can't, you can take the theory of when I was younger, I used to shave against the grain to try to get it to thicken up. And then because I didn't have a mustache and I and it was patchy here, so I shaved against the grain. But once you get the beard coming out and you use the oil to get past the itchy face, because that's honestly when most people give up, you get past it. You need to do regular maintenance. You need to, and don't trim it yourself. If you go to a barber, have them trim it. It's the same thing if you're trying to grow your hair out. The longer it gets, yes, you can buy a beard. They have knit ones that'll keep you warm throughout the winter.
Yeah, actually.
They will be really hot during the summer, though. But you got to view it like if you're growing your hair out, if you get the split ends and stuff at the end, it's going to grow and it's going to fragment. I'm actually on my way when we stop here to go get this thing trimmed and my hair trimmed. You got to, I do, this is once like 3 weeks. If I can, every 3 weeks, I'm getting it trimmed. So it's, if you're trying to grow it out longer, you got to kind of shorten it up a little bit and then it'll grow healthier. That's my beard tip of the week.
There you go.
And we've done this segment one time and we'll never do it again.
I don't know. I got another tip. I just thought of one, so we'll see.
Next time.
Let's see. Chris Fox asked an actual question. How much did you say? Not Colin. I'm not saying your question was not actual. I'm just saying it wasn't, real estate, but that's fine. This actually is not real estate related either. You could use this for any home videos, home movies, Christmas. This is going to be stellar at Christmas. Yeah. Think about a sweatpan as the kids are opening gifts. I'm going to become like a movie producer. This thing is called a DJI Mobile. It may be called the DJI Osmo Mobile. I know you can find them at the Apple stores. They're about $299. There's all kinds of attachments and stands and all kinds of fun stuff you can put on it. Mine I got from Best Buy because they put it on sale for $250, and that was my break point. It's like, okay, for $250, I could do that for $250 for sure.
Yeah, and I think there are different versions, higher end versions that cost more, or different packages that'll come with a secondary. You kind of get two. What are they called? Yeah, you get a whole bunch of different stuff with it for different. But just that one there, $250 is nothing.
Yep, it does. I mean, the battery lasts. The battery lasts a little while. It doesn't last a long time. Yeah. So I probably should pick up another couple of these things. But
right.
I like it. It's fun. Well, thanks everybody for joining us. The bearded men of real estate and home movies and beards, I guess.
We're opening up. Yeah.
Should just be the bearded men now. Already on episode 4, and we should just be the bearded men.
Just the bearded men.
Actually, this is episode 5.
This is episode 5.
Yeah. So if you're wondering where to find you're welcome, Chris. Thanks for watching. If you're wondering where to find the Bearded Men of Real Estate show, you can find us every Thursday, right around 1:00. We start recording. We'll do the headlines. It usually takes the first 10 to 15 minutes. We go through the headlines, and after that, we'll pick a couple of topics to sit on, like the Stop Zillow, pick up the pick of the week, the tax bill, things like that, to discuss in detail. We are going to be on other places soon. But right now we have a couple of episodes uploaded to YouTube. I'll get more there this week. But we want to be on the Anchor app and some other stuff like that's coming. So if you enjoy the show, please let us know. Comment, say, hey, I watched, I like it. Feel free to send us questions. Dan, where can they find you on the web?
I do want to note before his 1:00 time, remember he's in Arkansas, so East Coast time, that would be 2, and then my time up to 11. And that's always, barring any issues that I have, it's always me. If we're late, it's always me. It'll never be Ray.
I don't know. It's fine.
Always
it's fine.
Me. It's always something. Today the mic didn't work. Although we got it done on time. We were ready. But there's always something with me. I don't know. It's just a thing. Anyway, I'm everywhere at D Ludwig Rocks. DLUDWIGROCKS. Rotten Tomatoes, Etsy, Pinterest.
Everybody wants to follow you there.
Yeah, it's always D Ludwig Rocks at anything. You can find me there.
IMDb.
I'm a big guy on IMDb. Yeah,
huge reviewer.
I write most of those reviews and most of those profiles actually.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's good. All right, you can find me, Ray Zorback, just about everywhere on the interweb. Long story behind that name, but we'll get to that anothy day. But it's Ray, R-A-Y, Zorback, Z-O-R-B-A-C-K. So thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. If you have any questions, again, please reach out to us. We appreciate your participation.
We really do. Thank you so much.
Bye, everybody.
Later.
I got to click